G'day guys, it's Chris here from Kyzar Games. A little bit of a different video for you today. I'm going to be talking through a dashboard that I've created using the Simhub Dash app and just going over some of the things that probably aren't quite as well known and things that I actually had to reverse engineer from another dashboard so that I could set up my dash the way that I wanted it. So first of all, what we're going to look at is the dash that I've created so far. So the dash is a fairly minimalist design. I like the minimalist design. It makes it easy for me to get the information that I need during a race. I've divided it into, at the moment, 4 pages, but we're going to add another 1 or 2 pages to it as I progress the dash. So this is the race page. It's got what I want for my race, essentially, the information that I want to see while I'm actually on the racetrack. So my current lap, my best lap, and my last lap, gear, speed, my fuel information. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll notice I have a tendency to forget to put fuel in the car before I start a race. This stuff is very, very interesting. And then down the bottom, I've got my electronics. So my map, traction control, ABS, and brake bias. I've got a low fuel warning here, which is designed to actually only come on when I've got about 2 laps worth of fuel left. And I've got a delta time for my current lap to my best lap. I've got a set of LEDs over here that are linked up to the flag system in the game so that when there's a yellow flag, they glow yellow. When there's a blue flag, they glow blue. A rev counter up the top and an LED Christmas tree up the top as well, which is actually 2 separate LED bars set up so that the LEDs move inwards, like you see on a lot of dashboards. The LEDs themselves are set up so that they go green, red, blue, and then flash purple when they hit the red line. I've also got a low fuel indicator LED down in the fuel section here. All right, so that is my main race page, the information that I want when I'm actually racing. We'll scroll through some of the other pages now and we'll have a look at the differences. So the next page is my qualifying page. So this one's cut down a little bit further. The LEDs, rev counter, gears, speedo, flags, my lap data, the warnings, and also my electronics are pretty well common across all of my dash settings. What changes is the information that I'm displaying down here in the middle left. So I've now changed to laps remaining in my fuel tank because I don't need to know how many litres or what my fuel burn is. I'm doing qualifying, so I'm likely only going out and doing 2 fast laps at a time. So all I want to know is that I've got enough fuel to do another lap if I come past the line and I haven't quite made that pole time, but I think that there's some speed in the car. I've also got the session best. So this will display the best lap time for the session so far, and another delta which tells me how far my current lap is off the session best. Next one is my temperatures. This one's more pertinent for the sims that have that little bit of added realism, so things like a Assetto Corsa Competizione, where getting damage during the race can actually affect your water temperature and oil temperature, and also just checking oil pressure. This one's just a nice to have page that I kind of just threw in there because why not? And the final one is tyres. So tyres is a page that I might use during qualifying when I'm doing my warm-up laps to make sure that I'm getting the tyre temperature and the pressures correct before I start my fast lap. On some tracks, and especially with GT3 style tyres, it takes a couple of laps to get them up to full optimal temperature. So this is the sort of page that I might start qualifying on and then revert back to my actual qualifying page when I'm ready to start doing some fast laps. So we'll go through now and have a look at the things that I struggled with. Most of what's on this screen here is pretty easily found. If you come over to quick texts, you'll see a whole menu of um, different options that are pre-made. So like the leaderboard here, I can go opponent last lap or opponent best lap, things like that. Your lap data is all in here. Fuel data is all in here. Things like race position if you're that way inclined, and obviously all of your engine data in here. Okay. Addition on top of that, you've got more components down here where you can find buttons, shift lights, different shapes, linear gauges, vertical linear gauges, all kinds of cool stuff in here, and your LEDs. All right, so most of that is built into to the program proper. Quick text up here is obviously your pre-made stuff like your tire temperatures and your fuel stuff. Now the ones that that actually got me a bit confused were these ones down here. So map, traction control, ABS, and bias. And I went through a little bit of trial and error and found that I absolutely just could not figure out how to map them. It was really quite difficult. I was using linear gauges and all kinds of crazy stuff. So what I did was I actually jumped across to Race Department to just download a sort of a template that I could reverse engineer from. And what I found was this one here, which is an RSR dashboard made by, where's his name gone? It was there somewhere, Film, I think his name is, PHILM. So this is a Film Dash, yeah, there it is, Film Dash. So I downloaded this this dashboard because I could see that he had ABS and traction control, and that's what was giving me trouble. While we're on the internet page, by the way, the Simhub homepage is where I downloaded the app from, which is just simhub-.com. Yeah, if you're after this dashboard though, it's really cool. It's an absolute work of art, and he's done a fantastic job with it. So the link is up there. Download Simhub Porsche RSR dashboard. And what I did was I jumped into, whoop, that's no good. So I jumped into the Simhub app and brought that dashboard up in Dash Studio. And I basically just grabbed this little figure here to find out what it was. And it is a text item. Okay, so it's just a text box, essentially, is all that it is. So then I had to figure out how it was actually programmed to change with the ABS adjustments or traction control adjustments and all that kind of stuff. So over on the side here, FX is our little function center. Okay, so text here is actually greened out, which suggests that there is a function at play. So I jumped in to have a look at what the actual text binding was. And this is what the scripting, essentially, the syntax function was to display a value within that text box. And you can find basically all of these game data functions within insert property. So here we are here. So all these game data things, basically anything that you could possibly think of exists within this function menu. Things like brake temperature. So we can actually have brake temps show up on the dashboard. We can have brake bias, which is what I was looking for. Scrolling down, we can find, like our fuel alerts and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So in here, insert property, menu, and you just basically scroll through, or you can type something to filter so that you can actually find the function that you're looking for. So in this case, ABS level, or it might have been, is it traction control? No, so it must be TC active and TC level. So traction control active and traction control level. So once I'd reverse engineered it from this beautiful dash, I essentially came back and turned these into text box So the border is actually a linear gauge, and that's just a legacy from when I was trying to make the linear gauge function work. But I basically just left that there because the border was already set up and it was really nice. So I'll put my text box in, went down to text and set my function, break bias, out of 100. Oh, look at that, Discord. It's probably the Go Race Promotions E-Series Discord, which I'll give a quick plug. Tomorrow night practice, 16th of April, we're racing at Circuit of the Americas this week, and it'll be the debut for my new dash, so I'm pretty excited about that. Anyway, so that's how I discovered how to set the displays for my electronics. Now, the other cool thing that I'll talk about. Let's have a look at the LEDs to start with. So we've put an LED row in, and we want to open up integrated LED settings. So we've got within our menu here, we've got a number of effects that we can apply to the LEDs. So if I open both of them up, all right, and put them side by side. So we've got RPMs to start with, and this is where you can see that I've mapped it so that we start off with green, we go red, and we turn blue. On the right-hand side, I've essentially mirrored it. So you can have a look at all the settings that we've got going on down here. All right, you can see that they're entirely mirrored. So the left-hand most LEDs on the right-hand bank will light up at 90% RPM, and the right-hand two LEDs on the leftmost bank light up at 90%. Now I haven't selected red line color for any of those lights because I also applied an effect for the red line reached. Now I just want to change that because 4 lights flashing just wasn't really doing it for me when I tested. So I want to go to 4 LEDs. Okay, so basically 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And then speed limiter on as well. So when the speed limiter is on, the whole tree, the top 4 LEDs in both bank will flash blue. So now what we want to do is test that those LEDs are programmed properly. And you can do that by opening test data. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You want to have both of them up at the same time. That's in the way. Okay, so open test data, there we go. Beautiful. So test data is up. We need to have status is game running. I've just picked my Corvette because it was in the list. So there was a BMW M6 GT3 from Assetto Corsa Competizione and a Corvette C7R from Assetto Corsa. I just grabbed that one. So we've got a bar here that will indicate to us that where the RPMs are at. Okay, so as I change that bar, you can see that the LEDs up in this little section here light up and turn off. All right, we put it up to full RPM and say that we've hit our red line, and now 1, 2, 3, 4 LEDs are flashing purple. And then if I want to check pit limiter, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're flashing blue. And then what I'll do is come across to the left-hand bank. Now we didn't change anything in the left-hand bank, but for the purpose of the demonstration, oh, there we go. There was a problem there. We did change it because we wanted 4, but our start position was number 7, which is this one here. So we want to turn our start position to number 5, okay? So start position just relates to where along the LED bar the effect actually begins. So it's a good thing that we actually jumped in and tested that. So that was setting up my Christmas tree LEDs. Discord can go away, we don't need you. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. The RPM gauge here, I just grabbed off, I think it was this one. So out of the quick menu, yeah, so grab that and basically just come over into the menu here and adjust my background and all that kind of stuff. What are we doing? That's the gear thing. Okay, so adjusted our background color to white and our gauge color to green. So it's just basically green on a white background. Now, the low fuel alert is the other thing that took me a little while to actually work out. As I said, everything else is pretty well self-explanatory. If we have a look at the LEDs, so these bottom LEDs here, basically to find an effect, we just go into the add effect, and you can scroll through to your heart's content and find all kinds of cool stuff. Okay, so things like the ABS being active, which, the ABS is actually working. You're on the brake and the ABS is working. We can actually set an LED to come up for that. Okay, so all those effects are just in there. This is, like I said, my flags, so blue flag and yellow flag. There are a number of different flags that you can grab, but I only want the blue and the yellow. So this is our low fuel alert. Now I only want it to come on when I have low fuel. So we come down to visible, and it's ticked by default. So what we've put on the dash actually shows up as being visible. I've then gone and set a function formula. So once again, insert property, we can find a whole bunch of formulas pre-done. You don't need to go and write any coding for yourselves. And what we've done is gone fuel alert is active. Okay, so fuel alert, once we get down to that sort of 2 laps of fuel left, we'll get a warning on the dash regardless of which screen we're in. Now what I might want to do is, because we're likely to have only 2 laps of fuel thereabouts in qualifying, I might actually want to remove the warning from that page, but we'll have a look at that a little bit later. What I want to do now is add a couple more parameters. We'll make a new text box. Basically all I'm going to do is copy and paste the low fuel text box, and then what I'm going to do is make that low fuel, actually I want to make it visible because I want to put it exactly in the same spot, and then we're going to call this ignition so I can tell the difference. Okay, I'm going to change my text field to say IGN off. Okay, and what we're going to do is make it red and white thing. So we'll come in here, delete our old function, and we'll look for a property. So what we're looking for is something that says ignition. Maybe we don't have ignition off at all. That would suck. I should have checked this before I started making a video. But we'll have a quick scroll through and see if there's anything. Let's go engine. Yeah, that is from the Go Race Promotions E-Series. All right, so it looks like I don't have that option. Damn. I could have sworn that I saw one. Oh, that might have been in widgets. Okay, that might have been in widgets. What we'll do instead is the other one that I wanted, which was a pit limiter. So I wanted pit limiter on. This way we still get some success out of what I'm trying to do. All right, so pit limiter on. What we're going to change though is the background color to blue. So it will match all the other pit limiter. Pit limit. Okay, so that will come up when the pit limiter is engaged. And then what we'll do is copy, and we're going to go across each page. I said maybe not that one, but we'll place it down anyway so it comes up in the same place on every page. That way we don't have things bouncing around doing weird stuff. Okay, so I'll come back to quali, and what we'll do is still called ignition, but that's fine. We'll delete low fuel because we don't want. What did I just delete? Oh, don't tell me I deleted. Yeah, I deleted the ignition. Bloody hell. So we will delete low fuel. That didn't delete low fuel again. So do is move that down, grab that, delete low fuel, put that back up, so that we don't get the low fuel warning when we're on when we are on the qualifying page. That would be an annoying warning to have. So there we go. We've now created a warning alarm for when our pit limiter is engaged. Go up and we save. All right, and that should sort us out now, so that our dashboard will be good to go. Now, the other thing that I didn't know about until very recently was setting your steering wheel buttons to be able to change the pages on your dash. So we come into controls and events, we can add new map. All right, basically we can push the button on our steering wheel and then select from the side what that button is going to do. So for example, our graphical dash plugin, I think is what I selected, next screen and previous screen. Yep, so as you can see here, Fanatec CSL Elite Wheelbase PlayStation 4 B01 and B10. Basically, my two big buttons on the middle of my Fanatec steering wheel will now control the pages on my dashboard. So what we're going to do now is boot up Assetto Corsa Competizione and we'll plug in our dash on my mobile phone, and we'll be able to record what the dash is doing. Stick around. Alrighty, so here we are in Assetto Corsa Competizione, and we're going to go to Nürburgring. A little bit of wet weather just to make it interesting, and see how this dashboard goes. That was terrible. I've got to get better at talking. Alright, so what we're going to do is jump into setup to start with, and we're going to drop this down to around about 6 litres of fuel, 7 litres of fuel. Alright, so that should give us, let's go 8. Alright, so it should give us a little bit more than our 2 laps to make our fuel warning come on. Alright, so that's what we want to test.
Green light, go, go, go.
Alrighty, so we can see on the dashboard at the moment the pit limit warning is up, and we've got the flashing blue lights on the Christmas tree. Revs are responding, and we've got engine map going up and down. We've got traction control going up and down. We've got ABS going up and down, and we've got the brake bias changing. So that's always a good sign. All right, so we'll scroll back using our steering wheel to our main race setup. Alrighty. So we come out onto the track, and we can see, yep, our dash is doing everything that we want it to do. We've got our race page up at the moment, which is showing us the pertinent information that we want for the race. Like I said at the start of the video, how much fuel we've got, and our lap data. Now go across to the qualifying setup, or the qualifying page I should say. And across the temperature. That's interesting, I'm not getting a response from oil pressure and oil temp. Might not, whoa, there we go. We've had a bit of a slide. Did we keep it off the wall? Not quite. That's right. Yeah, so we might not have support for oil pressure and oil temp in the game, or I may have coded it wrong. And we'll come across to our tyres now as well, and we can see that that data is pretty much aligning with the data that we've got on the tyre widget. Oversteer. And I'll press next again, and that brings us back to race. Well, I wasn't paying attention there. I was looking at the dash because low fuel came up, and that was a bit of excitement for me. It means that I coded it properly. So there we go. So the low fuel warning has come up, and we can see as well in the fuel widget that I've got a flashing red LED light telling me that my fuel is low. Oh, the wet weather's catching me out a little bit here because I'm talking while I'm driving. Right, let's go across to qualifying now though, and that low fuel warning has disappeared because we don't want to worry about it in qualifying. If I go across then to temperatures, low fuel warning is back, so that's really good. Alright, let's go into qualifying page and see how we go. First gear. I've got to do at least one decent lap to redeem myself. Just let it hit the limiter because it's wet. Back to second. The wet weather physics in Assetto Corsa Competizione are fantastic. I'd even go so far as saying industry standard. Load apex, throttle hard. It's a nasty corner in the wet, that one. A little bit hot. Careful on that ripple strip, they're slippery when it's wet. As we look at the Christmas trees, purple, pull the gear. Counter that lap. But anyway, there we go. So that's my dashboard in action. Hope you guys got something from the video. Probably should have rehearsed my editing skills before I started doing it. I've only literally just got Simhub. I got it over the weekend. After seeing a video somebody else who's had the setup. So I've jumped in, and of course I like to jump straight into anything that has an editor. Spent a long time trolling through forums and stuff trying to find all the coding and all that stuff to make bits and pieces work, and it wasn't overly helpful. So I figured, oh well, maybe there's a market there for people that are trying to customize their own dashboards. I will be making more dashboards, and I'll try to feature them as much as I can in videos when I come up with new designs and stuff like that. I'm planning on making a dashboard specifically for kartcraft that will mimic the AIM microns as much as I possibly can, because the in-game dashboard is very small and hard to see when it's on the steering wheel. So I wouldn't mind having one just set up on my own rig so I can track what's going on a little bit better. But anyway, I think that's enough from me. I'm going to take this into the pits now. And thanks a lot for watching the video. If you liked it, and you liked the sort of tutorial aspect of it, let me know. There's other things that I can think of to do. Oh, we're completely out of fuel. Look at that. No good. No good. So yeah, let me know if there's other tutorials and stuff relating to Assetto Corsa Competizione. I do a lot of my own livery design, so if you guys want to know about that, let me know. Anyway, I'm going to sign out from here, given that I've embarrassingly run out of fuel. I'm going to get out and push the car. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you around. Bye.